the mockery from the stars. They came in shimmering arcs of metal and arrogance, blotting out stars as they filled Earth's orbit. The Cathal Dominion broadcast their arrival with theatrical flair, bright symbols scrawled across the sky in a language Earth satellites had no trouble decoding. Their message echoed in hundreds of languages, delivered with mocking precision to every screen and speaker on the planet. To the inhabitants of Terra, your defiance is irrelevant. Your weapons are toys. Your species, quaint. We offer you mercy, surrender your planet and resources, and your extinction shall be delayed. The message ended with laughter, guttural, alien, and chilling. Across the globe, chaos erupted. News feeds cycled through images of the alien fleet, hundreds of warships, some as large as cities, orbiting silently above. Panic-stricken civilians emptied shelves. Governments scrambled to assemble response units that, deep down, they knew would be useless. In Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and New Delhi, emergency war councils convened. In orbit, one of the Cathal ships vaporized a U.S. naval base near Guam. Not as an attack, but a demonstration. It worked. The UN tried diplomacy. The aliens responded by targeting every active satellite, blinding Earth global communications in under 6 minutes. All transmissions ceased. The sky had gone quiet. But under that silence, Earth began to speak a different language, one the Cathal didn't understand. In a bunker beneath Greenland, Major General Imani Oduba of the Global Defense Contingency Committee gave a single command. Activate Protocol Black Ice. Across the planet, deep-buried systems powered up. Forgotten Cold War vaults opened. Long-denied experimental tech was rushed to life. Satellite feeds routed through abandoned Soviet stations. Hackers in bunkers took control of weather satellites. Naval officers unsealed classified railgun prototypes. The aliens had expected a broken world. What they didn't know was this: Earth had prepared for annihilation long before the Cathal ever arrived. They think we're primitives, Imani said, looking at the live feed of the fleet above. They think their tech makes them gods. Let's show them what happens when gods bleed. Meanwhile, the aliens grew bored. There was no retaliation, no resistance, only silence. A few ships landed scout craft in deserted zones. No response. A predator hunting prey that didn't run. Admiral Jaskar of the Cathal issued another message. This world is soft. We shall enjoy reshaping it. He didn't know that, even then, a fleet technician had died in orbit, victim of a failing ventilation system. No sabotage detected. Just a glitch. He didn't see the magnetic interference building quietly across the Pacific. No alarms rang in the fleet. They laughed. Earth didn't. Earth was waiting. The silent resistance. The first Cathal ground teams descended like gods in gleaming walkers, expecting awe. They got emptiness. Cities had been evacuated, power grids cut, communication networks silenced. To the aliens, it looked like surrender. In truth, Earth had vanished beneath their senses, not with magic, but with engineering. They are hiding, muttered Subcommander Vrakoth, watching the ghost city below. Let them. We'll flush them out. They never got the chance. The first strike came in orbit. A Cathal escort frigate, standard patrol, moderate shielding, veered slightly off course over the Indian Ocean. Its systems glitched for 3.4 seconds. That was enough. A swarm of carbon fiber drones, cloaked by ocean mist and launched from a derelict oil platform, latched onto its hull. Seconds later, the ship split open with a concussive boom heard in Sri Lanka. Command dismissed it as mechanical failure. The second malfunction came 12 hours later, this time above Canada. Then another over Argentina. The Cathal had never fought an enemy that refused to stand in front of them. Beneath a frozen Norwegian fjord, a former NATO railgun platform fired a tungsten slug straight through a low-flying wrecking vessel. 2 seconds of power, one dead ship, and no trace of the weapon's position. In Alaska, a Cathal walker stepped onto an abandoned airstrip. Its foot sank into the tarmac and detonated a buried cache of shaped explosive wired into the storm drain grid. The explosion gutted the mech and collapsed the ice beneath it. A dozen resistance fighters emerged from hidden shelters, salvaged alien limbs, and vanished before orbital eyes could focus. For every attack, humans gave no statement. No threats, no chants, just silence. In Tokyo, a network of quantum-linked microdrones, disguised as trash and dust, slipped aboard a landed K-Thal cargo ship. Within minutes, its gravity stabilizer failed, and the ship collapsed inward like a crushed can. Above, Admiral Jaskar watched the growing list of system faults, unexplained losses, and static-filled surveillance feeds. He growled in frustration. These primitives should not be capable of this. But humanity was built on fighting with less. Guerrilla tactics, psychological warfare, improvisation, it was in their blood. They had no starships, but they had patience. No laser cannons, but plenty of creativity. They knew every street, every cave, every blind spot. And now they had alien bodies to study. In an underground lab in Colorado, a human scientist peeled apart K-Thal armor with industrial cutters. Lightweight composite, neural mesh interface. See this node, she said, handing it to her assistant. This is how they link their squads. And if we interrupt it, they die confused, isolated. Perfect. Humanity wasn't fighting to win yet. They were learning, mapping, weakening. And the aliens still hadn't realized it wasn't Earth that was surrounded. It was them. Humanity's trap. They thought we were surrendering. After weeks of silence, humanity finally responded to the K-Thal's open channel. A single message, translated and transmitted in pristine galactic standard, was delivered from a satellite the aliens hadn't even noticed was still functional. We concede. We are prepared to offer planetary terms of surrender. Coordinate over the Pacific. Stand by for transmission of access codes. Admiral Jaskar leaned back in his throne of alloyed bone and steel. Around him, his command crew clicked and hissed with satisfaction. The primitives had finally realized their place. Above the Pacific Ocean, 27 K-Thal warships repositioned in low orbit, forming a ceremonial convergence. Their flagship, Vengeance of Fire, hovered directly over a predetermined beacon near Earth's equator. Below them, the waters seemed calm. Inside the Pentagon's buried war room, Major General Ojiba stood before a wall of holographic projections. The operation's name pulsed in red across the main screen. Operation Trident. Status, she barked. All systems green. Thunder Lances are primed. Solar arrays locked. Targets within the net, replied a technician. Ojiba nodded once. Commence. At that instant, Earth's oceans roared. From the seafloor rose weapons not seen by any K-Thal sensors, because they weren't active until now. Buried decades prior by an international coalition convinced Earth would face extinction someday. The Thunder Lance platforms had slept beneath layers of volcanic rock and oceanic sediment. Now they awoke. Massive railgun towers surfaced, steam billowing, and fired tungsten rods the size of cars at Mach 20 into the sky. Simultaneously, hidden microwave satellites ignited in high atmosphere, unleashing blinding electromagnetic pulses directly into the alien fleet. The K-Thal shields, designed for energy weapons and asteroid strikes, weren't ready for Earth's weaponized physics. Vengeance of Fire caught the first rod. It tore through 6 decks and detonated inside the core reactor. The ship imploded in a flash of blue flame. Within seconds, 6 more ships lost altitude and began spinning wildly. Without communication and coordination, cut off by Earth's electronic interference, the fleet fractured into chaos. From the moon's dark side, Earth's final surprise arrived. Lunar Station, long considered a failed science project, had been converted into a kinetic bombardment base. A salvo of depleted uranium rods from God, they called them, fell from orbit with no propulsion, just mass and gravity. Each one struck like a localized nuke. Tsunamis rose. Firestorms ignited in the stratosphere. By the time the assault ended, 19 K-Thal ships had been vaporized. The rest were plummeting to Earth or attempting erratic escape maneuvers. The trap had sprung, and it worked. From her command post, Ojiba watched the data feed. Silence hung for a moment, broken only by the quiet hum of cooling systems. Then she whispered, "Tell the world." She turned to the nearest officer. "We just took back the sky." Earth answers back. A lone Cathal shuttle, battered and scorched, limped into deep space. Inside, Subcommander Vrakov slumped in his seat, his once pristine armor cracked, his crest lowered in shame. He had been spayed intentionally, his survival engineered, not by mercy, but by design. Clutched in his trembling claws was a data crystal. Encoded within it, hours of footage from Earth's last stand, destruction, strategy, and the final message. It was meant for the Cathal High Council and the rest of the galaxy. On Earth, the fires were still smoldering. Smoke curled over fallen alien wreckage, their twisted hulks dotting oceans and mountains like the bones of titans. Yet amid the ruin, humanity stood. Major General Oduber walked the landing deck of a newly formed international command hub, carved from a crashed alien carrier. Engineers were already stripping it, learning, adapting. Every piece of their fallen enemy was now a blueprint. In the sky, Earth's first hybrid drone, a human-machine fusion powered by salvaged Cathal gravity cores, performed silent test maneuvers above the Pacific. They had mocked Earth. Now Earth would build with their bones. The transmission began 48 hours later, broadcast in every galactic frequency the humans could decode. The video began with an image of Admiral Jazkar's flagship being torn in two by a railgun slug. Then a shot of the Pacific lit up by kinetic impacts. Then silence. A woman appeared on screen, Oduber, wearing no medals, no helmet, only the Earth behind her. To any who watched us fall, look again. You thought we were weak. You thought we were simple. You thought our silence was surrender. But we were listening, learning, preparing. And now we know how to hurt you. She leaned forward, her voice cold and sharp. To the Cathal, we do not forgive. We do not forget. To the galaxy, Earth is not prey. Approach us again, and you will remember what it is to fear a world that refuses to die. Galactic networks rippled with the broadcast. Billions of species watched in stunned silence as a once-ignored planet laid waste to a Dominion fleet. Mercenary guilds quietly removed Earth from easy conquest lists. Minor empires reconsidered scouting missions. On the Cathal homeworld, the High Council sat in silence. Their greatest fleet, gone. Their dominance, shaken. And worst of all, the primitives had learned it. Begin fortifying our borders, one elder finally said. Earth is no longer beneath us. Back on Earth, as construction of new orbital defenses began, Oduber watched the stars from a quiet balcony. We're not done, she said to her aide. Preparing for another invasion. She shook her head. No, we're going out there now. He looked confused. She smiled. They came to break us. Instead, they built us a fleet.